Hello everyone, I'm Tom Pitzen. Welcome to In Depth with Tommy Media, a show that explores campus issues that affect you. The recently approved St. Thomas Strategic Plan calls for, quote, flexible pathways into UST, within UST, and into the job market. In part, that means the university plans to consider how to apply credits from other institutions, like local community colleges, to St. Thomas's degree requirements. Joining us to discuss this matter, Associate Vice President of Undergraduate Studies and Academic Advisement, Michael Jordan. Thank you for being here, Dr. Jordan.
Glad to be here.
So, Dr. Jordan, what steps will the university take if it chooses to consider this transfer credit issue?
Well, as with many aspects of the strategic plan, we are looking at ways we might do even better, things that we already are doing rather well. And so certainly we will look at the current information we have about how we do apply transfer credit from all of the community colleges in the area to our degree requirements, and determine whether we can move to an even greater degree of intentionality or deliberateness in how we cooperate with the community colleges in order to make sure we get information to students there who are thinking about transferring to St. Thomas that will facilitate their move in our direction when they are ready to make that move.
And the term accreditation comes up a lot when we talk about transferring credits specifically from community colleges. What does that term mean, and what role does it play when we're looking at the issue of transfer credits?
You know, accreditation is very rarely an issue when it comes to considering the credits we look at. There are probably more than 80 colleges and universities in Minnesota alone from which St. Thomas currently receives and grants transfer credit. Accreditation as a whole refers to the system of regional accreditation used throughout the country to establish that institutions are in fact legitimate academic institutions governed by academic principles and teaching legitimate courses. But as I say, very rarely do we face the problem of turning down credit from an institution because it lacks proper accreditation.
Another term that comes up, I'm sure a lot of people that have transfer credits, is the post-matriculation policy. Can you shed some light on that and kind of explain what role that plays at St. Thomas as well?
Certainly I can do that. I know post-matriculation is something of a strange technical term, but it works this way. All of our academic requirements are based on specific criteria that we define the particular needs for each course and each part of the curriculum. When we're working with transfer courses, obviously those courses are not designed in the first place to fit into our curriculum. Why would they be? They're designed for their own purposes. And so there's always some degree of approximation in how well a course designed elsewhere fits our particular curricular needs. For students prior to coming to St. Thomas, say a student who starts out at Century College, we are willing to be somewhat flexible in helping that student determine which courses might apply to particular St. Thomas requirements. And so we have a general process of approval for certain courses. For students, once they matriculate or begin at St. Thomas, we have the opportunity to counsel that student on a section-by-section, course-by-course basis if that student wishes to go elsewhere to meet a certain requirement. So we do take the opportunity to ask the student to acquire prior approval based on an examination of a particular section of a course, the syllabus for the section of a course, so that we can steer students toward courses that most fully meet the criteria for the requirement that the student is hoping to meet at St. Thomas.
Mm-hmm. And if a transfer credit happens to fall within a student's major field, what steps do they need to take to make sure that credit transfers here to St. Thomas?
It's always up to the major field department, and usually that means the department chair, although sometimes that task is delegated, to determine that any transfer course is in fact going to be appropriate to meet a specific major field requirement. So the student would seek prior approval if it's a post-matriculation transfer course. The student would seek prior approval from the department chair. If it's a transfer course that a student is bringing with him or her when the student first begins at St. Thomas, the department chair will evaluate that transfer course, usually based on a syllabus, to determine whether it matches sufficiently a particular major field requirement in that area.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. If you have a comment or idea for a future in-depth segment, tweet it to @TommyMedia. Thanks for joining us. With Dr. Michael Jordan, I'm Tom Pitzen. We'll see you next semester when we go in-depth with Tommy Media.